Hey guys, I hope you're doing really, really well. I apologize now for the noise. I have to use my phone this for this Saturday posting, and so I'm gonna try to speak very loudly. So I hope it doesn't sound like I'm screaming at you, but I want to make sure you can hear me, and I hope that that background noise, is not too annoying. But you know what? We're working with what we have, and so jumping into this week, we're talking about the pursuit of goals with spirituality, a spirituality twist, if you will. And so, where this comes from is this idea of the yin and yang of pursuing goals, okay? So, I kind of tend to see oftentimes really extremes in the pursuit of goals when it comes to spirituality and goals, where I see one category of people, they are just like so focused on that goal that they are going to do everything that they have to in order to get there. And so they're just really focused on go, go, go. If things aren't working out, they're really frustrated. They're not really open to other suggestions. They're not open to other opportunities. They're not even open to this idea that maybe they're kind of spiritually missing the point, And so those things I'm kind of categorizing into this idea of there's no open space for a spiritual component or maybe a life purpose component, or just we have to look at a different direction kind of thing. Like there's just not openness to that. And then I see the other category of people who are, they're so far into the spirituality sphere that they don't take action at all. They just think that God is going to, give them the direction that they need, and the universe is just going to bring them everything, but they're not taking action. And so I would say if you are somebody where you have goals that you've set for yourself and you just can't seem to get there, maybe kind of think about it. Like, are you living too far in one of these spheres? Because, obviously I think the easy one to talk about is like if you're somebody who's sitting there saying, oh, the universe is going to bring me stuff. Like, come on, guys, take some action. That's like an easy kind of, I could end this like right here and be like, okay, there's your advice. But, specifically with people who tend to be super hyper-focused on their goal, and can't seem to get there no matter what they do, I would say that maybe you're missing the spirituality side. You're not really bringing your heart sphere and your soul sphere into what you're doing. And my experience, and I don't know if this is your guys' experience, but my experience, when I'm doing something that is just not in alignment with my life purpose and what I believe I'm here to do, I keep hitting my head on that same wall. And no matter what, I just can't seem to overcome it and I can't get through it. And one of the things that's really important to understand, guys, even if you're not like, oh, like you can't wrap your head around this whole idea of like bringing your soul into it. The one thing that's really interesting to think about, how often do you guys actually miss what you want because you're so focused on the goal? Okay? Think about this. And I know that's a weird way to say it, but I would argue that most of us and the majority of us really were in pursuit of something for a specific reason. So let's say you are trying to, develop a business, okay? And you have this idea you're going to develop this business. But I would argue that you're probably developing that business because what that business can give you, okay? Maybe it's more money, maybe it's more control of time, maybe it's an expression of your creativity, whatever that might be. But oftentimes, we are so hyper-focused on this has to look exactly like this that we completely miss the opportunities that would actually bring us the things we really want. So when you guys are setting goals, I really, really encourage you to create space that sometimes you need to allow the unknown to come into your direction. Okay, and that is usually in the form of other opportunities. Maybe that's in the form of, you're hitting so many obstacles, you have to get creative and kind of make a switch. Like there's almost like an agility that happens within it. And I would say that if you can create that agility and that space for that, it would be amazing. And I think of it from a spiritual side, if it's allowing, the universe, if you will, or that's where that universe bringing you gifts, that's where that comes in. Because I can't even tell you guys the amount of times in my life where I've sat down with somebody and they're like, oh, I'm looking for X, Y, Z. And then I'm like, well, here's a golden platter. I can help you get that. Like literally everything you said, I can help you get. And then they're like, no. And I'm like, you're not even open to having a conversation about it? And it always kind of baffled me that if you have a solution for somebody, they don't even consider it. And I'm not saying that, that every opportunity is right for every single person, but there's a very big difference between actively wanting something and then actively not even looking and being open to alternatives that might give you that opportunity. Now, on another side, like even on an emotional side, I see sometimes clients where they're pursuing, let's say, really healthy relationships. Okay, they want really healthy relationships, and the problem is that they don't love themselves. Period. They aren't madly in love with themselves, and they might say they are, and they might argue with me they are. But I have seen it often where I've done a reading, and it's like, listen, the only thing you need to focus on is learning to fall so madly deeply in love with you, and then couple that with boundaries. And that will really help you get to where you want to go. Now, obviously, there's more to it. I'm really simplifying what I'm saying here just in terms of context. But, often, though, these people are so, like, not always, but sometimes these people are so focused on wanting to create those relationships that they're like, well, no, like that's not what I'm focused on right now. My focus is on this. So, yeah, that's great, but that's not my focus. And so they don't even listen. They don't even take the advice. But then, lo and behold, I see them months later, and they're still in the same spot that they were before. And it's because sometimes, guys, even from a spiritual, I believe we're here for a purpose. We're here to evolve our soul. We're here to put things in front of us that we've actually designed our lives to have obstacles in front of us that force us to evolve our soul to something so much greater than it was even when we came here, or parts of our soul, I should say. And so these obstacles that we have in our lives oftentimes are actually gifts that we've given to ourselves. And these gifts are really the point of why we're here. So, for instance, in that example where I just went, going back to that example I said of, some people pursuing healthy relationships, okay, that's great, but maybe they're here because they really need to embrace and learn how to fall madly in love with themselves and to find confidence and self-image throughout that, And it's like, it's amazing that when you're open to this idea that your goal might come in a package you didn't expect it to, then sometimes you pursue that package, you find that fulfillment, and then your goal comes so easy, and you're like, why was this so hard, And I would also argue, if you're continually banging your head against something, maybe it's because you do need to switch things up, and what you're trying to pursue isn't what you're supposed to do, right? And maybe it's because something that's happening in that current path really is in alignment with your core values and what you actually believe and what you're excited about. And I'm not saying to never try, because, oftentimes through that struggle and through that banging our head against the wall, that's actually where we find our creativity, and that's where we stretch ourselves, and that's actually often where we find the courage to make the changes we need to. But if it's continually, like, it's all the time, and you really have exhausted all resources, and you've asked for help, and you just can't seem to get past it anymore, or get past it, then I would probably say maybe it's just not actually meant to happen, And I know that's such a hard pill to swallow. Oh my God, guys, I had so been there where I put my heart and soul into something, and I was just like, I couldn't get where I wanted to go, and it was just killing my self-image. It was making me so depressed, but I did what I could, and I was doing everything that I possibly could, and it was amazing, though, because that was one of the best experiences that really set me up to get to where I am now with doing my mediumship and doing a business that I am surrounding that, And so sometimes you just have to be willing to be open and create that space and allow that spiritual guidance to come in and help you get what you want. Because it's more about really creating the things we want in life and creating the greatest life we can, more than it is just hitting a goal, right? Really, let's be honest. That's really the truth. And so, yes, my question for you guys this week that I'm going to leave you with is, are you creating space towards, if you're working towards a goal, are you creating space to allow the universe to actually give you what you want? Anyways, hope you guys have a great week. Don't forget to subscribe on that button below, and or follow me Facebook and or Instagram, AK Mediumship. Love you guys.